a chance to do the YouTube. It's still uploading.
And everybody, please be sure you are on mute.
Give me a chance to do the YouTube. Okay, go ahead.
Our lone speaker for tonight is happened to be my mentor when I joined Toastmasters a couple of years ago. He has served as an officer at the various capacities from up to the district level. Tonight, our speaker is doing his level 5 presentation mastery of the Pathways Manual, Prepare to Speak Professionally. He has been in the manufacturing and supply chain management for over 30 years. Over those 30 plus years, he has received extensive training in the various concepts of lean manufacturing. Tonight, he will speak on how these concepts can be applied in our everyday life. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Alan Mann, being lean in your life, Alan Mann.
Even though you're carrying a few extra pounds due to COVID, all of you can be lean in your personal life. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished and most welcome guests. Tonight, I'm going to talk about how the concepts of lean manufacturing can apply to our personal life. And let me bring up slideshow here. Just a second here. Share screen. And let's put this. I had to, okay, there we go. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Share the screen, Alan.
What?
You're not sharing.
Okay, sorry. Shoot. I had to.
Do what you did before. There you go.
Okay. Okay. The beginning. What I want to talk about is a brief explanation of what lean is and the history of lean. Is it next? It's not advancing. Yeah, there we go. And the various approaches, the Kaizen approach, the 5S approach, and looking for the root cause. And if time allows, I'm going to give everybody a brief quiz. What is lean? Well, lean in the manufacturing world dates back to the era of Henry Ford when he first came out with the Model T and how he applied efficiencies in the manufacturing of the first automobiles. It was taken to the next level after World War II by the Japanese by incorporating the stakeholders, the employees, the people who actually screw things together in manufacturing the car and the cars. And the whole purpose was to take out waste in the process. And also in the process of taking out waste, you build in quality. In our personal life, waste means lost personal time that we could be doing other things. If you're spending the whole day running around back and forth around town and not doing anything else, you might not have time to go to the park or go to that Toastmaster meeting where the international president is speaking or something else. It also, if depending on how the waste, you're spending time looking for that special memento that I saw it the other day, but I can't seem to find it now. Or money, hopefully you're not losing money on your desk. There's a number of things that you are doing. But waste is not good in your personal life. And also, depending on where the waste is, if you're bending over unnecessarily, that could be painful. That's a type of waste. So the first approach is the Kaizen approach. Just a second here, go back. Yeah. Share screen again. The Kaizen approach. A Kaizen is the process, and the Kaizen approach is to take apart the process to make it more efficient. Maybe it's something at home that you have to do that just takes up so much time because you're doing it in an inefficient manner. Maybe you have, as I said, 15 errands to run around town, and you want to do this in an efficient manner. The best analogy really of taking something apart and putting it back together is those building blocks many of us had when we were growing up, whether they were the blocks or the Lego, little tiny Legos, or the Lincoln Logs. Remember how we build something, we take it apart and make something else, or make something that looked a bit cooler? Well, that's the same approach. A Kaizen approach is you take something apart. An example would, as I said, would be how you organize your time running around doing errands. Let's say Michelle has 15 places that she's got to stop at around town. Does she want to go running back and forth between the west end of town and the east end of town, the middle of town? She wants to organize the errands as much as possible, depending on when things are scheduled, so she's not spending all day getting in and out of the car and all day just running to these errands, so she could be doing other things, whatever she wants to do in her spare time. Because for those of us who are working, we only have those 2 days at the end, the Saturday and Sunday, to enjoy and relax and also do errands, and we don't want to spend all our time doing that. I hate going from one store to the next to get everything I need for the next week's groceries. It's inefficient. That's why I pick a store that has hopefully everything, and I try to schedule my errands. Well, I have to go on the west end first. I try to imagine a big circle of the places I need to stop during the day. So that is the Kaizen approach. And you could literally take something apart, and you could even take apart a Toastmaster meeting. And let's say we have our schedule here with the list of all the things we're going to do in this little over an hour meeting. But let's say we want to change things up, and so you could take all the roles, just take it apart, and imagine each role and each part of the meeting a block. Rearrange things. Well, we don't need to do that. I want to add this, and you try to cram things in more, because the purpose of the efficiency in a Toastmaster meeting means more people have an opportunity to speak. So that is the Kaizen approach. Take it apart, move it around, put it back together to make it more efficient. The 5S approach is how you organize things. And you start on the 5S, there's 5 S's. And the first one, and the easiest one actually, is sorting things. Let's say your desk at home is a little disorganized, and Linda knows my desk is a little disorganized, so I will admit to that. So you carve out some time and you throw away the stuff you don't need, and you keep the stuff you do need. And you need to be doing this on a regular basis. Sort stuff you don't need, throw it away, get rid of it. Stuff you want, need to keep it. The next is straighten things out. A place for everything, and everything has its place. And that doesn't mean, like I've seen one individual or one business, he had everything organized in old cigar boxes of various sizes. Now that looked cool, but it looked really disorganized. Everything has its place. And you, for example, tools. How many people here have tools? Some people have, tools. You could actually shadow box where all the tools, each tool is. So every screwdriver has a specific place, rather than throwing them all in one toolbox where you have to ruffle through everything, find what you're looking for. Just every place, hang every tool so you could easily find it. The next key thing is shine or sanitize. And obviously, we think of sanitize, we think, okay, COVID, but this is even before COVID. You don't want to, and I'm not trying to make everybody sick, but you don't want to have breadcrumbs or food crumbs on your desk. You want to be sure clean your desk or whatever area on a regular basis to, because certain things will grow there where that don't belong there. Sanitize on a periodic, regular basis. The next 5S is standardize. And when I think of that, I'm looking into Zoom and I look at Khalid's bookshelf. It looks very organized. And if I were to, I don't know if that's his bedroom or his living room, but it's a nice organized bookshelf. And it's the impression that you give. If someone were to walk into, let's say, Kevin's house, Kevin, your living room, how organized is your bookshelf? Think about that. I'm not asking you to answer that, but what kind of an impression do you appear organized? Spices in your kitchen. Do you have a spice rack? And something to consider is when you're organizing things, like in your kitchen, put the important regular stuff in a place that you could easily get to. Let's say you have a spice rack with 30 different spices. What spices do you want to be able to easily get to on a regular basis? The ones you probably use on for like myself, there are 2 spices I use on a regular basis. Onion powder and lemon pepper. Those are the 2 spices I use on a regular basis when I'm doing my cooking and cooking for Linda. So you want to put those in a place you can easily get to. All those cleaner stuff is stuff that you keep underneath the kitchen counter, underneath the sink. If there's something that you use on a regular basis, like dish soap, do you want to really be bending down every day to get it? Or do you want to put that on the sink counter so you can easily get that to save yourself, that stress on the back. That's number 4. And then finally, and the most important, is sustain. You could be the most organized person in the world. You could organize everything, but how good are you at sustaining? At work, I'm pretty good. At home, I'm still working on it. Linda knows I'm not too good. I'm trying to get better down here, my desk in the kitchen, but sustaining is a challenge. This is a natural thing. We fall into bad habits, and very easily you come home, you throw the mail on the counter, and all of a sudden you got another pile of mail that just 20 days or 15 days ago you went through it, organized, you sorted it, you threw away the stuff you didn't need, it looked straight, you tried to put it in a standardized type folder or some type of receptacle, but you know what, fell into bad habits again, and you didn't sustain. So sustain is the most important. And then finally, but I wanted to talk about one other. So that's the 5 S's. I want to talk about one other tool that you can use, and that's the root cause. Now, when you're teaching lean in the manufacturing, I always use the Titanic example. Why did the Titanic sink? Well, okay, people say, well, it hit an iceberg. Well, the next question is, why did it hit the iceberg? And you try to figure out what that answered. And then once you figured that out, oh, why? Keep asking why until you've gotten to the root reason. Let's say something's not working right at home. You have an initial reason why it's not working, but then you got to start asking why. Let's say when your toilet keeps getting clogged. Okay, so you answer that question. Okay, because we're using too much toilet paper. And okay, well, I don't want to go into details, but you got to keep asking why until you've gotten to the root and then solve the root. This is if you have Letty has a kid. If your kid is falling asleep in school, you want to get to the root reason of why your kid is falling asleep in school. And I'm sure Michelle would agree with that. You want to get to the root reason. And this is part of being lean, is getting to the root reason. So these are tools, and sometimes they're very interchangeable, like the Kaizen approach and the 5S, they sort of work together. It's not, well, I take one approach or take the other. It's you tear something apart, but you're also looking at better organizing it. You're looking at the Kaizen approach, and you're also looking at root causes. These are all things, and the whole purpose of all this, I'm going to keep stressing this, is that you're trying to eliminate those things that distract you from having fun time. That's because when you're not having fun time at home, you're not being efficient. You're not really, that's the whole purpose. You want to have fun time at home. So now I'm going to just stop sharing here, and I'm going to ask people a few questions. I don't know how well I'm doing the time here. So I'm going to ask, how lean do you think you are? David Drebsky has just spent a lot of money organizing his office. We can't see it, but it's really organized. He sorted it, organized it, sanitized it. But 2 months later, you could see from the Zoom that his desk looks is starting to get a little disorganized. There's that creep of disorganization. What did David forget to do? Anybody? He forgot Sustain. Yes, he forgot to sustain. So here's another idea, something to think about. Kevin Brooks just on a whim just purchased a 135-inch big screen TV, and they exist. I looked the other day, and there's a 135-inch big screen TV. He did this at an impulse. He was in Best Buy for something else, and he bought this. But he wasn't really thinking about where it's going to go. And he realized when he got home that it's not going to fit on that table that his regular TV right now is sitting, his 25-inch TV. So now he's got to reorganize things. What is something that he can do? What is one of these tools that Kevin can do to maybe rearrange things? Any idea?
Is that a question for the group or for me?
A question for the group. If you want, I'll answer this. You got an idea? I'll think about doing a Kaizen event. Disassembling in your mind, because you don't want to move everything out until you really know what you want to do. But disassemble in your mind your living room where Kevin wanted to put his TV, and then play with. Okay, I could move these around. Okay, now it'll fit on that wall, and now I want to be sure all my couches are there, because you don't want to put a couch where you're facing, where your back is facing the TV. That's not very efficient watching TV. So you could use a Kaizen event, or you can do the same thing, as I said, for reorganizing a Toastmaster club. But there's another tool. Here's another scenario, one more scenario. Big Mac Toastmasters is constantly ending their meeting late. What should they think about doing? What should the members, not just the officers, but the members do? Maybe the members should just spend a special meeting or part of in the meeting doing a root cause. Okay, why did we start late? Because the Toastmaster is always getting late. Then you ask the question, why is a Toastmaster always coming to the meeting late? And you keep dissecting this until you've solved the problem, so you're not starting the meeting late and ending late. Something this, and as I said, this could be applied your personal life, your Toastmaster life, and if you have a personal business, these are skills that you could apply anywhere to make your personal life, your life outside of your work, your general work, more efficient. In summary, there are a number of tools that they teach us in the manufacturing world, like the Kaizen, the 5S, which is the Kaizen, which is taking things apart and putting them back together. The 5S, which the key thing is to sustain, and the root cause. These are all tools that could make our personal life more lean. And if it's more lean, we have more time to do the fun things like going to the beach or going skiing or whatever you want to do, and just having fun and not wasting your time.